Hello everyone, and welcome back for more Neyyah. So, I feel like, and this might be comically incorrect, but I do feel like I am starting to get closer to the end of this marvelous game. Especially because my Peita case is starting to look particularly empty, with only 3 left to use. If there was if there was ever any indicator of how much progress I've made in this game, this is probably it. So today, I kind of just want to go around and read a bunch of signs with the glasses, and I also want to go back to the Bannock's computer system. That takes me to the Galorfiak mines, so I will go there, and we'll start with that. There are still a lot of sort of odds and ends in this game that make me think that I have a lot of puzzles to solve yet. So that's kind of what makes me wonder if maybe I am closer to... This is still closed, yeah. Also, I bet this says Lodvik Tower, right? Hold on. See, now I can check this. I'm almost certain it does, though. Yep. I figured that out. Okay. So maybe I'm like closer to halfway, I'm not really sure. Just because of the amount of stuff that I have read about that doesn't seem to correspond to a puzzle yet. I do still have the, I have the knife item, and I'm not quite sure where I'm going to use that. In fact, I have a few items. Hold on, let me look at my inventory. So I have the Pelska Portal, which I've not... Yeah, see, this is what makes me think I still have a lot to figure out yet. I have the Pelska Portal. I've had that since, like, the start of the game. Not the literal start, but, you know, secret office. So basically, as soon as we were let free to roam around the world, I had this. And I have not figured out how to use this entire time. Supposedly, there's a number to activate it. I understand, like, I get that puzzle. I know exactly what the numbers are going to be, all 4 of them. I have the Constellation number system, I have the Flora number system. You know, the Flora number system is easy. It's just, you know, you look it up in a journal, right? And I have the Constellation number system written down, and I have the code for this. I just don't know where to put it. Like, I don't know... Like, obviously, I can't just, you know, click on it and, like, put the numbers in. It has to be put into something. Maybe I'm supposed to use this at Pernerva Point. Now that I think about it, because that's the only place where the Pelska showed up to talk to me. So maybe I have to use this there? Maybe I just didn't check thoroughly enough there? I should go back to Pernerva Point. It has been a while now. I'm dissuaded from going there because right now that portal points to the other place. You know what I'm talking about. The other place that the Pernerva Point portal can go. And I kind of don't want to switch it back because I feel like I'm going to be doing something there right away. But we will see. Although, then again, I don't know what I would even do there because the spores, which are the obvious thing, I think, to go in that little thing there, the cabinet they can open, it's, they cannot go there. So, I'm gonna have to find, like, a mushroom. It's obviously something mushroom-related that has to go there, right? But these do not go there, so I'm gonna have to find something, and, you know, probably something to do with the mushrooms. So yeah, you know, starting to think maybe it's more like halfway. Maybe I'm not even close to done yet. But yeah, there's that. I haven't used the knife yet. I know where these will be used, and I have the clue to which color goes where. It's gonna be in the camera system that I find that out, I believe, if I remember correctly. And another thing for today is the Volk cabinets. Those are the things with the screws in them that have the triangles on them. I turned those on. So theoretically, pressing a button on one of those is going to do something now. I kind of want to read the signs in this area, even though I suspect I will already know what they say, and I really highly doubt that they will give me any useful puzzle information, considering I'm already kind of done. Oops, it's this way, with this area. But you never know, so I just kind of want to see what they say. Especially the one above the door that's boarded up and I can't access. What is it going to say? I don't think, reading it will allow me to access what's in the door, but I'm curious what it says. Yeah, so obviously this is, oh, does it just say the same thing on both sides? Oh, so there's just two chambers. So it's identical, it's going to be an identical room, basically, to what's over here. Just that one of them is boarded up and the other is not. Yeah, they both say this. Okay. I thought the other door would lead to a different place, but that actually makes complete sense. They would have two of them. And they just, one of them is just fallen into disrepair. Well, really both of them have fallen into disrepair, but only one of them is boarded over. Yeah. I'm resisting the urge to, check every nook and cranny of this area again, because I did that very slowly and carefully last time, so I really don't think I'm missing anything there. There was no signage on this store. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of keep an eye out for those signs, although I don't know how many of them. So far, they haven't really been useful puzzle information, per se. They've just been kind of labels of things. And most of them, I've kind of already figured out what they correspond to. So my goal here, I wanted to just review the Banox computer system again, now that I've changed a bunch of stuff. I'm going to go there, I'm going to look at that again. We know that lowering the Neyyah is going to be basically the second to last step before trapping Smallwalks. I do not know really what the Neyyah is or why it needs to be lowered. I just know that's like very end of the game. And it has its own computer screen, if I recall. So let's review this again and check if any more of it makes sense. System information was just an overview. Portal activity was just an overview. Console data. Right. So this, I believe, was on hold. Yeah, it's awaiting fuse power. Okay. Now, I can switch between out on the Felicio Island, where it's connected to this whole system. I can switch between walkway lights and crystals. I don't recall seeing any indication of which one I would want it to be on. So I might just have to try both and see if it has any effect. Because right now that doesn't connect to anything as far as I can tell. So yeah, those are all the same. This, I believe, is just a hint to get you to go to the dome. Yeah. I don't think that these numbers are actually useful for anything. I believe. I don't believe, actually. Okay. Yes. Here we can change the location of this. I really want to do the thing at the Spore Docks, but considering I don't even have the item for it yet, maybe it would be more useful to have this on Minerva Point for now. So we'll switch that back. But I am coming back to this, don't you worry. Okay. Heater chamber status. Heaters. Okay, let's review this. The heaters require external power to be activated. Once in operation, stay clear from the collection pool. 4 times heaters will disconnect the spores from Neyyah once it's lowered into the pool. Turn off heaters before collecting spores ready for delivery at Spore Docks 1. Inactive. Yep, okay. A sacred plant to Olajay, providing our land with medicinal properties to strengthen our community, garments, and ornaments to serve in our appreciation and worship of Volca, and aiding in the crucial development of the Pelska Portal at the Ronaldo Temple. Fajaltans assisted in rebuilding our world once they discovered us here on Famor, and this involved the shared use of the Neyyah plant, only to wage war against us once they decided we were too much of a burden to them. Spores are collected from the plant once lowered by the Neyyah into the heater chambers. Okay. Current location is Point A. I know where that is. And I've been there. I don't recall seeing an inventory item to pick up there. So maybe that is a hint that I need to go back there and check that again. That's in the Scarlidi Towers. It's the elevator that you can raise up through the portal there. Shield. The Neyyah plant must be protected and nurtured at all costs to make sure potent Neyyah spores are grown on every Neyyah site. Unfortunately, a species of fish known as the cypherfish seems to populate the Neyyah heater chamber with a hunger for the spores. A plasma shield has been set up on the outside of the chambers to prevent the fish from entering the pool when the spores are being harvested. This is active. Okay. Neyyah. Okay, this is the thing we have to lower. Neyyah Site 28 is now equipped with a Neyyah Platinum Series model. Aha. Providing the top quality performance needed to grow and harvest the best Neyyah spores. Operation requires the use of 2 external computer systems to lower it from Point A and Point B locations. An activation cabinet can provide fuel, which needs to be powered remotely. The Neyyah cradles and lowers the Neyyah into the heater chambers, ready for spore harvesting. Okay, so there are spores in this, and they get lowered into the pool by this. Okay, so that's why it has to be lowered, and why that would signal Smallocks to come and pick up the spores that are being harvested, if I'm getting this correctly. Currently it's inactive, and it's at Point A. Alright. See, now that I've been to Point A, I can kind of connect that as being a real location, whereas before I didn't even want to read this because it just seemed irrelevant. Shoot. To enable delivery of higher spore quantities, a recent chute and portal system has been set up on Neyyah Site 28. Spores can be sent via workers at the Neyyah heater chamber through the entry chute located there. A Shiryuki portal is currently in use to transfer the spores to another worker, positioned at an exit chute which is constructed at the Toledo portal, leading to Spores Docks 1. The chute will remain inactive until another spore harvest is imminent, operated remotely on Olajay. So, okay. So this is how the heaters, how that heating area with the 4 portals in it, this is how it connects to the Scarlidi Towers, I take it. I have seen this contraption. I'm not able to walk up to it, but can observe it from afar, that there is a portal going into it. That must lead probably to Point A, and then the stuff comes from there out of here, right? And then it's meant to be taken to the Spore Docks 1 from there. I think. I'm not sure. Live update. Attention required. Foreign objects detected in the pool of Neyyah heater chambers. Attempting to identify. Unsuccessful. Yeah, I haven't figured that out. I don't recall seeing anything in the water there, but okay. Emails is just emails. There's nothing to interact with there. Cameras. Ooh, we do have cameras. Right, we powered this on. Camera in use. Crane camera. Elevator sector. Okay. Lab HQ sector. Okay, this is obviously meant to give away that these are the symbols for each location, right? But I already know these two. Camera sector. Now, I don't know where the camera sector is, unfortunately. So I don't know what island this is corresponding to. Could that be Minerva Point? Because there was another camera system there. We put Paidas into it, I believe. Maybe. But I don't want to say for certain. Crane camera. This is at the Neyyah Spore Collection Pools. That's a fuse. Not sure what this is meant to tell me. Oh, is it... It's associating colors with these symbols? It seems to be. Okay. So these... They definitely are fuses. Those are the fuses symbols. The fuses have colors associated with them. So we have to write down the fuse colors. This one is green. I suppose... Man, we got rid of those fuses, right? Where did I even use them? I don't remember. We had fuses in our inventory. We installed them somewhere. I was like, finally, I got rid of these fuses that were just sitting in my inventory this entire time. Okay, I wrote down the colors associated with these. At some point, we're going to encounter fuses and need to change their colors, I guess. Okay. This is at the arrival sector. It doesn't appear to be up to date because I don't see the red crystals things open. I'm assuming that's just an oversight. But I'm not sure what I meant to see in this picture. It's an overhead view of that walkway, which I have been on several times now. What am I meant to see here? This, you know, the existence of this picture makes me think there is something revealing about seeing this from overhead. But to me, it just looks like a rectangle with a bunch of electric gadgets on it. And I don't see anything here that is of note. Maybe I'm just squinting so hard on it that I can't see the thing that would be really obvious if I had a more zoomed out perspective. But I just don't see anything. Anything of particular note looking at this. So, okay, moving on. Oh! Crane camera detected. Loading error. Unable to detect camera visual input. An alternative camera system has been set up to receive a classified camera view. That might be at Minerva Point. Crane camera, location classified. Okay. This is for the crystal block mech camera, yeah. So, I thought this was meant to reveal the color to use for this, but it's not really revealing that, as far as I can tell. Like, I was kind of expecting there was going to be an outline or something here, right? That was like, oh yeah, it would just kind of give it to me, give it away. But maybe I have to put something there first. This is the one in Fujitsu. This one. So, that is just one of them. This would be the other then? Yes. Did I write a note about this? There was something at the old factory about the cameras revealing the solution to this. I remember that for sure. And I thought when I looked at this, it would just kind of be obvious. But apparently not. It doesn't just give the color to me. Not that I have that many to try. But, I'm assuming there's no, confirm button, right? So I'm not necessarily going to know that I'm right, until it's too late. So this is something that I will need to figure out. So maybe I'll just have to put one there, and it'll tell me if it's right or wrong. Maybe that's how that'll work. Okay. That's just informative. Alright, exit. And let's not forget the computer that is on our right. It might actually be more relevant now than it was before. Yeah, so this gets its own dedicated computer screen, because it's that important. The Neyyah Platinum System, number 1. This is the thing that can be lowered. It's at point A. It's the perfect cradle and elevation machine for any type and size of nation of planet. It comes reinforced with Melissa material, Florian plasma tubes, sustaining large distances between any ocean portal it may be required to travel in order to grow and deliver spore production. It will rest in a more elevated position above heater systems, more so than any of the previous models. Okay, so this is going to come through the thing on the ceiling. I've seen the portal up there, right? I looked up there and seen that there is a portal inside the middle of the heater chamber. It's going to lower down through there. That's why that portal is there. So this is not to do with the chute system. Okay. So when I was there at point A, I was here, it's accessible through the Scarlatti Towers. I thought it did resemble the heater chamber, but it is actually a different location, but the tower is fashioned after it. Because there's a portal down in the middle of it somewhere that thing can lower down through and end up here in the Neyyah Sport Collection Pool. Okay, so this is point B. I see. That's point A, and I was uncertain what point B was, but now I understand. Point B is here. This is point B. Once the Neyyah is fueled via an activation cabinet and a two-part symbol is successfully transferred to the Neyyah Platinum System number 2, the Neyyah will take less than a minute to reach the point B destination. The fuel for the activation cabinet system is required to be powered from a remote location to the Neyyah itself. The key, safe box, and activation cabinet for fueling the Neyyah will be provided to you a couple of days before the main machine is shipped. So what is the difference between Platinum System number 1 and Platinum System number 2? I still don't understand that, because this information screen is about Platinum System number 1, but it mentions number 2. Yeah, don't quite know about that. So these binoculars, yeah, they're at the old factory, which has been moved. Yeah, destination classified. I know where it is. We cannot turn these on. Clicking on this does not do anything. But okay, so there's a symbol required for binoculars, and then we can turn this on. There are two symbols required for these binoculars, and then we can turn this on. So we're going to need to see something through those binoculars. And once we've seen something through those binoculars, we can activate these and lower the Neyyah. So, you know, kind of working backwards here, because I know that lowering the Neyyah is the last step before trapping small locks. So we can say that the second to last step is these binoculars. So all of this is going to work towards us having some symbols required to use these binoculars. And then once we see something through the binoculars, we will be able to lower the Neyyah. And then once we lower the Neyyah, that will signal Smollox to come and pick up his spores that have been collected, and that's when we're going to trap him. Alright? Binocular activity. Current location, binocular power. Now that's interesting. It shows an icon of a fuse, and specifically, it is the circle fuse with a dot in it. Okay, let's read this. The diverter tower on arrival sector continues to provide a strong signal, enabling a successful transmission of symbols to the binoculars connected to the Neyyah system. Okay. The Elopolite shield is now nothing but a ruin, looming above the diverter tower like a corpse, and those binoculars, stationed at the watchtowers nearby, serve no purpose anymore. While this continues to provide a steady source of power for the Neyyah, I do believe it would be wise to consider constructing a brand new system, one which doesn't require old Visual technology. I always did appreciate their understanding and cooperation back when I decided to lay down the plans to construct the Ocean Portal, but after what they did to us, Famir... Anyway, make sure transmission from Arrival Sector to HQ Lab Sector at Diverter Tower remains strong, for the Neyyah operations to be performed successfully. The Neyyah depends on it, Smollox. Okay, let's see. So, make sure that transmission from the Arrival Sector, I know where that is, to HQ Lab Sector. So he's saying, from the Fujitsu Islands to here at the mines, there is a transmission. The HQ Lab Sector at the Diverter Tower remains strong. So the transmission is being sent by this Diverter Tower. And the Diverter Tower is on the Arrival Sector. Have I seen this Diverter Tower? I do not know. I don't remember anything that I would call a Diverter Tower. It's on the Arrival Sector. Usually when they say Arrival Sector... Okay, here's the thing, right? The sectors are like a more granular thing, as far as I can tell, than the 4 zones, right? They don't just correspond to the 4 zones. They are places within the 4 zones, right? The Arrival Sector is on Fujitsu Island, but it's not the entire Fujitsu Island. It's just the area, you know, roughly surrounding where we first arrived, right? And there are other sectors on Fujitsu Island as well. So, this tells me the Diverter Tower, it has to be a tower that is close to where we first came in, right? Maybe that is the tower that we, you know, the first place we used the Peida. It's right next to the salt machine. That could be the Diverter Tower. It's the only really thing in that area that I would think of to call a tower. So, assuming that is the case, let's see. Continues to provide a strong signal, enabling a successful transition of symbols to the binoculars. The thing is, we turned that on a long time ago already, so there's nothing for me to really do there. The Elopolite shield is now nothing but a ruin, looming above the diverted tower like a corpse. Those binoculars stationed at the watchtowers nearby serve no purpose anymore. Now, the binoculars are not, wherever Small Axe claims them to be anymore, because they are at the old factory. We know that Vamir moved the entire old factory area, shifted it over, presumably after this was written. So, the binoculars are not at that location anymore, wherever Small Axe is referring to in this, right? They are at the old factory. And this is the current source of power for the Neyyah. So that's why we need to get these looking at something in order to lower the Neyyah. Somehow these provide it power, these binoculars. Okay. And these fuses are somehow related to powering them. The thing is, we've seen these fuse symbols in many places, and I don't know which of those many places this is referring to, unfortunately. That's what I'm kind of trying to figure out. I would imagine it's the walkway that takes the Trondikouts in. That's where I would imagine it being, because it had those fuse symbols. So maybe we have to put in the Trondikouts, and then that will, turn on those fuses, which will provide power to the binoculars, which will be able to then lower the Neyyah, which will then enable us to trap Small Axe. Maybe. Because the Trondikouts still have to be an important part of this somehow. And I've still not figured out how to get them. So that has to be a step in this process at some point. So presumably, we're going to have to do that first. This was something I turned on, yeah. I turned this on. Neyyah Platinum System number 1. Fuel activation. Yeah, I turned this on without really understanding what I was doing. So this console is powered. I believe I just do not, I just wasn't able to get into it. I didn't have the key that was necessary to get into that, if I recall correctly. Like, I saw it, but I couldn't do anything with it. I might be misremembering that, but I think that's true. Okay. Now having this new context, maybe it would be worthwhile to review some of the notes here. Okay, that tells me nothing of real relevance. What was this about again? This was about, yeah, the tracks here. Yes, this was the hint for the oil, which I already figured out. And this, I don't know if it's necessarily a hint for anything. I think this might just be, explaining why there's two different types of tracks. Okay, that all seems to be kind of old news. What was this about? Right. This, I think, is completely irrelevant to anything I have to do. And could probably just be removed from the game altogether, honestly. Yeah. Okay, yeah, this is a miniature. I was talking about this, how I believe this is a miniature. I interacted with this, right? Yeah. It lets you zoom in on these, interestingly. So what this is telling me, you know, it's reinforcing that there are 4 fuses. You know, we got that. And they all connect to this heater, right? And once they are all on, you know, it can begin heating and these can be lowered down. Right, we saw them lower down, actually. But that tells me, actually, surprisingly little information. It feels like this might be a puzzle hint. That must be the, is that the pipe that he mentioned burst in the dome? Is that in the dome? Is that where that picture's taken? Because he does say in this letter, yeah, there's a faulty pipe at Pelska Pod 4. It keeps disconnecting and leaking fluids everywhere. Maybe I can do something with that? I didn't see that when I was there. That would be in the dome, which I can access. And he does say when the mushroom produces spores that need to be mixed with 2 chemicals to produce a light source. And that almost sounds like instructions for me. I don't know why I need this light source, though. I mean, those lights are everywhere. So, But I am looking for something to do with these spores. Maybe I will look back around the dome again. And specifically look around on the ground, trying to find a pipe on the ground that has been broken. Because that must be a real place we can go to, right? Yeah. The elevator button is broken. And, yes. This is something I thought about. Just, you know, in my free time when I wasn't, playing this game. This is probably a hint to the location of the Volk cabinet on Pelska Island. Because the Volk cabinets, you know, for anyone not keeping up, I don't blame you. It's the things with the screws in them, the screws and triangles, right? Or at least that's what I think that's what they are, right? In Van Meer's journal, he mentions basically in the same paragraph that he's talking about the dome and the elevator button not working. He talks about the Volk cabinets. Oh, so is that why he took the button off of the elevator? He needed a button to take... He needed to take a button from somewhere to put it on a Volk cabinet, maybe. Because those things, they do need buttons, right? In order to work. So maybe he just had, like, 3 buttons and he needed a 4th. And he took one from the elevator. See, I was kind of thinking this is a hint that the Volk cabinet is in that area. And I need to look around there. I've looked pretty thoroughly around there. There is a door there that I can see it's open, but I can't get down to the beach there. So I can't figure out... I just can't figure out how to get down to the beach there, and that's what's preventing me from going there. Maybe the Volk cabinet is in there. In that door. It's conceivable. I've not found the one on Pelska Island yet, but I'm not even sure if it would work because the screw is just kind of sitting in the office and I can't pick it up. It's not an inventory item. So would it even work? I don't know. I don't even really know what they would do yet, but they are active now because I activated them at the factory. So that is something I need to check up on. I'm going to do the Scarlatti one first. I don't really want to do the one here because the one here is like a picnic table, which I want to know, like, you know, what's a baseline expect from a normal looking one. So, yeah, this tells me I need to insert spores inside the cabinet. I did try this with the spores I have in my inventory, but it didn't work. So, the sleeping tower area of Pelska Island. Where is that? The Gavunki mushroom spores at the Sleeping Tower area of Felisu Island. I mean, there's only one area where I really see mushrooms, is there? It's right by the arrival sector, but I guess he would have called it the arrival sector then, right? I don't know. At the Sleeping Tower area, I don't know where that is, of the Felisu Island to work most effectively on the new remotely powered lanterns. Lanterns. So, again, this kind of implies that I have to make one of these lanterns. I don't know how, but he did say it involved mixing them with chemicals. There's only really one place that I know of that has chemicals, and it's the dome. So again, kind of implying I have to do something there. I'm not sure what. The nearby Benoxy eye portal. Okay, wherever he's referring to has a eye portal nearby. I can only really think of one place that has lots of mushrooms, and it's the arrival sector. I'm not sure where this sleeping tower is. What building is the sleeping tower that he's referring to? Okay, at some point I'm going to have to go back to the dome. Again, you know, I've only explored it like 5 different times because it's such a suspicious area, extremely slowly, but I'll go back there again at some point. Right now, I'm going to focus on those Volk cabinets, and I'm going to go to the one in Scarlini Towers, specifically. Yeah, down. Let me do those, because they're obvious. There was one spot where one of those lanterns was on the floor. It was in Felizu Island, in like a stairway. I know exactly where it is, but I'm having trouble describing where it is. And I didn't really ever check if I could pick that up. Maybe that is an inventory item I can pick up. I didn't even make an attempt because I didn't think it would be of any use to have one. Okay. The reason I chose this specifically is because it is really close to the entrance. It's just over here. I do need to go back to Minerva Point as well. Not just for the camera system that's there, but also because I need to figure out which of those location symbols corresponds to it. So is this going to do something now? This is lit up now. Ooh. Ah. Oh, okay. This tells me a sun position. What were these? Hold on. A sun position, a temperature, and something else. A sun position, location. Yeah, this gives me the location number. And temperature. Okay. So these give me that information, which means probably for the Felizu Island, we're not going to get this information. That's probably the thing. I do have one of these written down already. I have one of them written down. Maybe the one I have written down is the one for Felizu Island. I actually discovered it first. That's quite possible. Because the old factory tower, the old factory place, is kind of implied, I think, to have been at Felizu Island originally. So, that indicator there, that could be for Felizu. I do not have enough room on this sheet of paper to write 4 of these sets, so I'm gonna finally grab a second piece of paper. Can you believe it? Sheet of paper number 2. And this is actually the last piece of paper that is in my printer. So I'll have to refill it. But that's not a problem. I have a stack of papers to refill it with. Okay. I'm gonna write this on here now. So I'm going to just assume that the one I already discovered was for Fujitsu Island. Does that just make sense? Which, you know, is in line with that area just having a screw laying around, and that indicates, you know, right, that, it's... That's why it's at the old factory instead.
I get it!
Okay. Minerva Point. I've now changed this to go back to Minerva Point. Let's explore around this area again. Now, what does this say? Hold on. I genuinely don't know. It says Minerva Point. Okay. Go figure. Alright. The most obvious thing it could possibly say. Did they really need to, like... You know, I guess it's nice that there are so many ways that you can confirm this information is true, but were people really not figuring out this is Minerva Point? Oh, hold on. Oh no, I'd looked at this, right? Yeah, they're all the same. Yeah. I didn't really take a look at this screen, though. Hold on. Yeah, I never zoomed in on this before. Nothing to interact with here. This just kind of shows me this triangle, right? And we kind of already know that information. Oh, these are meant to be the Volk Towers. I see. Yeah. They look exactly like the Volk Towers. And above them are spears of the colors of each place. Of course, all of the Volk Towers look identical, so, you know, you can't form an association of any kind that way, but... what does this one say? This should be interesting. We shall protect our people, our Pelska, our Felidian. It is a very cool looking drawing here. Starting to think there might be some, you know, things I haven't quite looked at close enough here. Which of these doors did I come from? I think I came from that one. No. This one, yes. This one, no. This one leads back. Yeah, I need to go through that one. Yeah. There is also a way upstairs. You know, I'll remember that. But the Volk cabinet, if I recall, is over here. Which, you know, if I'm doing things in order, might as well. So it was turned around here, and then it's off to the side. Yes. What do we got? We got another directly overhead. Oh! Okay, so the thing I wrote down is Fujitsu. That's actually this. It's the Minerva Point one. That's kind of bad news for me because I don't know what the Fujitsu one is then. So I guess I'll cross out Fujitsu. So does that mean the old factory used to be here at Pernerva Point? Wait, no. Hold on. It is different. The sun position is different. In the other one I had, the sun was not directly overhead. But the location is the same. It's the same symbol for location, and it's the same temperature. Or wait, is it the same temperature? This temperature reads as... This temperature reads as 32. 32. Okay. I wrote down 23 for Falitsu. So, yeah, I'm going to... Okay, I'm wrong about being wrong. That one is Falitsu. I think so. But, why are their icons the same? I'm just going to call it Old Factory for now. I'm not going to say which of the locations that is. So this... But this one is definitely Pernerva, no matter what. So, again, sun directly overhead. I'm just going to write this down as is, right? So the unknown one that I found at the Old Factory, I'll just call that Old Factory. Maybe I wrote down the location symbol backwards for that one. Do not know. Or maybe the Pernerva Point and Falitsu Islands are close enough that they are just rolled into the same location symbol. Maybe. So yeah, I said this was 32, right? I'm going to draw a separating line between these so I don't get them confused because I drew them kind of close to each other. This one is 32 degrees. Okay. This is Pernerva for sure. Alright. Yeah, this is just throwing me off. I expected the location would be different for each one. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's like, north, south, east, west, right? There can be multiple things that are both north, right? So maybe that's all that is. I don't know. But it's definitely something that's kind of weird, and I'll need to, cross-check it. Yeah. I remember this area. This goes back to where I saw the Pelska. Yeah. There they are. The guys depicted in that drawing. Hold on. This... Yeah, so I can put a thing in here. I'm thinking maybe I have to put a thing in here, and it'll tell me if I have it right or wrong. This is the camera, obviously. Let me just drop one of them in here and see. We'll just put it there. And we'll see if the camera system tells me if that's right or wrong when I go back to the computer system. So this is the area, I believe, where we are going to trap Smallocks. Yeah, this door is boarded over. This just looks so much like a prison that, it immediately registered to me that this was the trap. Even though at that time I had no real evidence for that. I cannot go over here. I'm guessing that this only becomes relevant when it's time to trap Smallocks, and that's why I cannot walk forward here. And was there anything else to do here? Hold on. What is this? I don't even remember this. And I see why I don't, because this doesn't really tell me very much. Cannot click on any of that. Okay, that's just a thing. I don't even know what I'm meant to deduce from this being here. Huh, okay. Oh, this takes an item. I totally missed this, didn't I? This is where I activate the Pelska Portal. I did not even see this machine. I could access this from, like, the beginning of the game. Dude, I could just walk up to this. Okay, put the Pelska Portal here. This is gonna be like a fast travel system, and it's gonna be totally pointless now, because I've already played most of the game at this point. But... yeah, I'll put this in here. Let's see. Okay, 4132. Hold on, I need my journal. Or, wait, what was the code for it again? It was, it started with a 4. 4231. 4231. Okay, so, yeah, and it goes flora. So, it's gonna be mushroom. 423. So, mushroom and Falitsu plants. Kind of looks like smoke, you know, going up in the air. That's already on the correct configuration. Okay, and then 2, 4, 2, 3, 1. So 2 is gonna be... that is... oh, okay, everything else was already correct except for that. So, alright. Activate it. Okay. So, oh, now that just appears in my menu. Alright. In order to actually use that, I need to be at an active point. Which I do not remember the location of the nearest one, but when I encounter one, I'll know what to do. Does that unlock a new location for me, though, is the question. And I see that there. Ah. Wait, that's one of the cameras. Hold on, that's one of the cameras. I've seen one of these in the Galorfiak mines, too. Yeah, it's looking at this. That's the location number of this place. Is this thing. I've seen this in the computer system, this camera looking at just directly at this, right? Which is totally useless, like nobody would get in front of this. What are they looking for, like wildlife? But this is one of the cameras. So these cameras look at these things. I'm realizing this now. And they say a fuse number on the bottom of them. On the bottom of them, they have a fuse number. This one is this way. So, Minerva Point. Its fuse number is this. Okay, this kind of goes back to something I was suspecting. I'm going to write this down next to Minerva. Which is, the heater requires 4 fuses, and there are 4 zones. So it makes sense if each zone was 1 fuse. You know, each zone had 1 fuse for for the heater. So maybe I need to know which island corresponds, or which zone, I mean, corresponds to which fuse. And I learned that by looking at the crane cameras. Because they have the fuse things written on them. Maybe. Or maybe this is only to show what's powering the camera. and it has nothing to do with the heater servers. But it's a better than nothing theory.